I'm late. I'm late. I'm late for a very important date.
These 1950s, but everyone is severely advanced. There's flying blimps with like LCD screens on the side of them, and everything's bizarre and strange. And it stuck with me for whatever. And obviously, this is just a stupid dream, but for whatever reason, all these years that stuck with me. Like it takes one man like Nikola Tesla to have more than 100 inventions that were patents, right? I mean, he had some
It's pretty great.
pretty fucking amazing ideas.
Yes,
But there was,
definitely.
in his day, there was very few people like him.
Yeah, that's true.
What if there was a million? Like what? And then
Things would advance very quickly.
Right. But there's not a million Elon Musks. There's one motherfucker. Do you think about that? Or you just try to not?
I don't think you'd necessarily want to be me. I don't think.
Well,
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Broken Clock Theory. I'm Griswold Grimm. Tonight's episode is me just saying whatever and seeing how long I can say it, mainly. I did put some stuff together, and I'm going to walk you through that. I think it'll be useful, and I like trying to be useful. I also did a phone call and interview today with Jesse Spots, and I'm going to put that at the end of what I go through with you. I think what I'm going through will lay the context for the call, but I'm just practicing interviewing, so hopefully it sounds okay. I wrote notes. Let's look at those. Disclaimer. I'm a guy on the internet. Everything you hear from me should be taken with multiple grains of salt. The broken clock theory is I've spent the last 7-8 years of my life believing that it's worth listening to the crazy people because they might be right. So that's where everything I have for you comes from. Weigh it for yourself, and if like you miss a part, you don't need to go back and hear it because maybe it wasn't for you right now. It might have been for somebody else. Everybody's at a different point in their journey. So we're also going to be covering some serious subject matter tonight. Stuff you might not want to know. There are football games. There's Netflix. You don't have to wake up. I think you probably should, and we really could use your help, but I'm not gonna make you. So there, disclaimer out of the way. I called this. I said that I'm gonna be going over the. How did I phrase it? It was beautiful. The Michael narrative. It's See, I don't know how to really tag this whole Vegan Mikey situation. Like, if the whole thing is completely fake, then we could just call it, you know, the story arc for that season of stuff on the internet. But if it's not, it's kind of insulting to say story arc. But there's the narrative of there's the story. So, um, I'm going to try and be responsible and put clips for everything that I show you. And I'm going to start with how I got sucked into this whole drama. I guess drama, yeah. Drama's life. Tragedy comedy, right? It's, oh, that's right. I was going to disclaim my entire relationship with Nathan Stoltman real quick. But before I do, you should know that truth matters to me and to this entire community. I mean, they call themselves the truth community, right? And it occurred to me that what this is, what you should be looking at right now, if I'm doing this right, is the Truniform. That's right. Hashtag Truniform baseball shirt, baseball sleeve Truth Matters shirt, available at Truth Revolution Clothing. That's a custom shortcut link I made for you. It's right down there in the description. It'll take you straight to where you buy the shirt. What was I going to do before the commercial? Oh, right. Might disclose my relationship with the Lift the Veil guy. I don't know, I hate trying to say his name wrong. He's just some guy on YouTube. I started watching and hanging out in his Twitch chat and met his people who are the best. And I think he got sick of me, to be honest. So he was like, at the he did his YouTube thing, and he comes on the Twitch and he's like, dude, just make your own videos. You got plenty of time. You're just clearly sitting around smoking weed all day. So I was like, fine. And then I find out he used to be an actor. And like this guy I called in today too, he was disclosing how he was an actor. So like all these actors trying to make this look easy. But anyway, that's about the extent of it. So I was looking into QAnon because I heard everybody found out it was fake. So usually when people stop looking is a good time to start, I think. TikTok. Right. Let me play you some more of that. No, I don't have that anymore. I closed it. Alright, well, I'll just start. I'll cover how I got into this later. I'll let you start. Let's start the recap of the Archmichael narrative.
Yeah, so tell me this then. You haven't heard from him. When is the last time that you've spoken with Seth or Claire?
I don't know. We've been on a group chat with a bunch of people, so that was probably the last time.
Well, how long ago?
I would have to look that up.
If you had to guess, was it 6 months, a year?
Probably less than that on the group chat.
Okay. So less.
So, the original Lift the Veil with Isaac Kappy. Is this it? Yeah. You watch the timeline of what's still up. Who knows, right? He had already jumped on this. And then Kappy came out. He started covering it. And then he shows up. And shortly after that,
Agree? It's okay to disagree. It's not okay to insult or fight. So generally today, and if the chat's distracted for you, please just pay attention to what's going to happen on the show because you're going to want to listen to this. And once you see what it's going to be, please share this with everyone. This is a survivor story, first time that's happening here on the air, okay? So I really want you to respect my guests and give them all the support you can while we go through this. There are a lot of risks that come with this. So, Michael, we already talked a little bit. I know you're really nervous, okay? Can you just start out by telling people why you contacted me, how we got here?
Yeah, I came across, I'll start by saying how I'm even aware of any of this. I kind of have an opposite relationship with this kind of information than most people. I only know anything about all the topics that you discuss, because I've had to trace back what's been happening to me in my own life, to try and figure out what's going on. And that's how I came across this information, as opposed to, the opposite. So basically, when it's the elephant in the room is obviously your recent exposure of this issue, and your guests that you've had and stuff like that. And I am really, it's inspiring in ways that might not be exactly the intent. So I wanted to reiterate that I think it's good that people like Isaac are coming out, because it inspired me to get really sick of the kind of generalities and the philosophical musings about this are all well and good, and all the information that we can share, but this is happening to real people, and it's not only happening 25 years ago, it's also happening right now. So I was inspired to reach out because of the integrity of which I think you've covered this, at least to my small understanding, and I wanted people to know that it's not only it's real, and it's happening now, and it's happening to me.
Okay, and
All right, I'd like to point out that I'm on board with what Michael just said. That the way that Nathan handled the questioning of Kappy, that was good work, I thought. Now, the next clip I'm going to show you happens chronologically in this order, but the footage is from something like a week ago, and I clipped it out. I'm going to show my clips. I have the links to that, the original in the description, but I'm not going to send people straight to Daniel. I feel weird about it. I'm sorry, I seem to have lost my place.
Connected with Michael Whalen, and how you learned about Fiona Barnett, just sort of your background. Yeah, a lot of this is new to me. We 123news.net. We do we're kind of like conspiracy theorist breakers. I mean, all these hoaxes and things that happen all the time. We're the guys that are breaking this stuff down. And so I did some research on Fiona, and everybody's done some research. All these people at 153 News has done research, and I found she was very credible. And I guess how I figured out Michael was he was on Nathan's show, right? He was on Nathan's show. And I saw that the very first night interview, and that was my old stomping grounds, your old stomping ground. And I'm like, wow, he's talking about, the next day, he was going to be kicked out, evicted, and all this stuff. And so it was literally a cover of night thing. I mean, we swooped in on the cover of night, we extracted this kid, we met him, and it was the weirdest thing, right? Because I mean, it's out of the nowhere. I got with Nathan, and I got his number, and I'm like, hey kid, you got to come with me, if you want to do this. And he's like, who are you? I'm like, well, this is the closest you get, this big bearded guy. So, we got him to safe places, and, as Michael gets attacked by demons all the time.
Thanks for coming. That is Jason Boss, from what I understand. I'm going to move on with the recap, though. Recently, well, you'll hear what happened, but Nathan did his take on the series of events quite nicely, so I think we should play that. No one cares.
What I'm saying is that one, there are one of two possibilities when it comes to vegan Mikey.
Hold on, did you say that he's a liar on your show? Did you say that he is a
No, I
liar?
did not straight out say
Everyone
what I
knows that
said.
you're lying right
Either,
now.
I'm telling you right now, either I said this, that either Mikey is lying about watching the kids go into the room, and that's why he didn't call the police, try to have them go to these parties and help these kids, or Mikey watched these kids go into the room and he's criminally
That's your
complicit for not-
opinion. Okay, that's your opinion. Did you
Yes,
go
that's
on to
what I
say
did.
on your channel that Vegan Mikey is a liar and that he's lying about the whole thing? Did you or did you not say that?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I stated what I just
Okay,
stated
good.
to
I'm
you.
glad you said that on the record. So,
I
do
did say
you
that. I'll
have
say it on the
any?
record
Do
all
you
day.
have any evidence that he is a liar? Any evidence?
I just do you have any evidence that he's telling the truth, Nathan?
Yeah, it's
No,
a first-hand. Yeah, we
Oh,
do
you do?
actually.
What's the evidence that he's telling the truth?
Well, there are several police reports, at least 6 police reports for crimes committed against him, and he claimed gang stalking, right? He claimed that there were 3 people involved in Pizzagate who said they were involved, who are connected to... Hold on.
I want to respond to the records really quick. I want to do each piece.
No, well, you're asking for the evidence that he's telling the truth. I'm just going to go through all of it, okay? He was evicted. Yeah, you can do it at the end, okay?
All right.
Okay. So there are multiple police reports against him. No one has any evidence that he didn't claim the things he said he claimed to the police. No one has any evidence that he didn't do it, except that the police said that except that the police said that in the papers. But that's taking the word of the police who, if this story is true, are complicit in the cover-up. So once again, there are people involved in Pizzagate that you can connect to Comet Ping Pong, who he claims confronted him and told him they were involved in that, and that they were still involved in the same kind of thing with Voodoo Donuts, and they were going to get away with it. Now, the reason I said there's proof, there are 3 people that he named that were all in Washington, D.C. at the time of Pizzagate, connected directly to Comet Ping Pong, who now make coffins in Portland and are connected to Voodoo Donuts, okay? That's confirmation. There are a bunch of people who were connecting Voodoo Donuts to child trafficking long ago. There are people that contacted me saying that everybody knows that that Trace has pedophilic tendencies. There are people in Portland that say that, okay? So that's further corroboration. Further corroboration is Voodoo Donuts is into satanic stuff. Now that's circumstantial. Further corroboration is that Macaulay Culkin, who's super involved into satanic stuff, who's connected to Seth Green, who Isaac Kappy called out, is also connected to Dante's, okay? And he placed Macaulay Culkin at 2 of these parties and says he would recognize him by name. So we have all of that evidence that would corroborate what he's saying. We have all the police reports which corroborate, and there were crimes committed against him. So we do have all of that evidence, and I haven't seen, except for your opinion, which I disagree with, and then you're still not being.
I think so. Hopefully that if you stayed with me, it gives you plenty of reason that you'd be interested in this next part. On that I just played a clip. On the show that clip is from, there was a guy who called in named Jesse Spots. He was talking about his acting past this morning, and I was watching, and I called in, and he was nice enough to let me interview him. So I'm going to show that for you now, and go pace around for a minute. Oh, wait. There's one thing I have to say. There's a couple things I have to say first before that. First, I'm going to throw a fact check out there. We've been in an investigation that I witnessed showed, or there was a claim made that the coffin business has been closed down for 3 years. So whether or not that part is accurate, I'm not endorsing any of it as accurate, but that what was just stated regarding the current operation of a coffin business is in question in my mind, and I wanted to share that question with you all before we moved on. You know why? Do you know why? Because truth matters. And you can get your Truniform at the link below. That's hashtag Truniform at the bit.ly link below, just in the description. So here's that call-in interview I did with Mr. Spots this morning, and I'll be right back.
I've got the chat open now. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
You'll call in? Yeah. What you got, Griswold? What's the subject? And just so people know, I'm not cutting off Nathan. I'm not drawing a line in the sand. I'm just going as transparent as possible. And I'm drawing a line with Isaac Kappy, but I've never had anything to do with Isaac Kappy. I'm just saying I do not like where this is going. This whole ball. Okay. I'm going to let Griswold call in. And if Nathan's watching, he can call in too. Or Honeybee, or, you know, I doubt Random Rants of Ryan. And he hasn't shown, at least to me, he hasn't shown any intent to talk about my past, but I'm not surprised. Like, I won't be surprised.
This call is provided by Uber Conference.
Okay, Grizz.
You are the first participant in this Uber Conference. Please hold while we wait for the others to join.
Let me get the number to you, Grizz. And let me say this, too. I think one of the things that really clears me is that I talk about the cloning centers and Alex Jones. I talk about really deep subjects. So for the most part, like, your typical Hollywood stuff isn't enough to condemn me. You know what I mean? It's like, we're talking about all the A-list actors sitting around underground in a cloning center. You know? It's like, gee, I wonder why this guy didn't pursue professional acting. The gang-stalking girlfriend, I called Nathan privately about that matter, because we have a friend in common, and she's a cloning center victim. She's tied to that story, so that might actually come up again. And if possible, I'll get her and Nathan to talk about it, but I don't think he wants to have anything to do with her again. Unirock was just saying it was all opinions, and Nathan has a bias, is plain and simple. He don't want to see both sides, which is that there is zero proof. It's all hearsay. Okay. Lock on the line.
Conference lock.
All right. Did I get Grizz in, or is this somebody else?
You did.
Awesome.
Indeed,
cool.
my friend.
How are you doing, my friend? Cool. Yeah. So you got some questions.
I don't know how I'm doing, but I'm having a good morning. So there's that. So I decided to call in because the whole Mikey thing is what pulled me into the community, if we can call it that. And Nathan pointed in your direction in a couple of Twitch streams, and you seem pretty smart and on a level and stuff. So
thank you.
I'm curious how you got into this. Like, you covered your whole acting background, and now you're YouTube, and so can you fill in that blank for me?
When did I commit to doing truth videos on YouTube?
Well, what motivated you and when is good,
yeah. In 2014, when I became a born-again Christian, there was a lot happening. And I've covered this on my channel a few times, but I basically had the sky is falling, like a Chicken Little thing, where, like, I was fully convinced that Nibiru was heading towards Earth. So, like, my family, like hundreds of people on Facebook, they all thought I was mentally ill in 2014 because I was posting videos of things in the sky and things that I thought was a planet. So what I did is I basically shut myself off, and I just committed myself to YouTube, and I said, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I'm just going to talk my way through this. So I covered the whole aliens are demons type thing. I covered the fact that technology is just an illusion, that basically when Apple announces a product, they're not really giving us new technology, that there's no new thing under the sun. I basically walked myself up to this point that you've met me now. I would say that I became popular because I basically arrived right there at that point as Flat Earth came onto the scene. So Matthew Powerland was on YouTube, and he was trying to get as many people into Facebook communities. So I was watching his videos, and he was encouraging me to go into the forums. So that's well documented about how, like, I would expose certain people within Flat Earth, such as Mark Sargent and people like that. That alienates a lot of people who don't like Flat Earth. They'll say that's a psyop, or Jesse talks about it, so he's part of it. But I like to think of my channel as like a breadcrumb trail, where if you have any questions, you can always go back in the timeline and just see it for yourself.
All right, and like, this isn't related to the rest of the show so much, but I'm terribly curious. Why cloning? Like, why do they do it? Because you're saying that you're on the side that they do it. So what's their motive?
Have you ever played a video game where somebody comes onto a server and they're hacking? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. I have a long history with alternate reality.
I think if you just take that and take your avatar and take that conundrum that comes up, especially if you're a server admin and somebody is hacking on your server, in a video game, it's easy because you can just ban their IP address. But it's typical that the person will just change their IP address and they'll come back. And then their friends will be with them and they'll also attack you. I believe they use clones, specifically clones with the REM consciousness transfer. That's like soul hijacking, where people go to bed at night and they wake up in a clone underground. I think their main reason for doing it is as a deterrent, as a mechanism of control. Not only can they kill a person, they can kill a person 100 times using clones. They can clone torture a person. They can use extortion. They can play with a person's fear of isolation in a clone. So it's not just that a person has been cloned and there's two Britney Spears. That's actually not the claim that I would make. I would say they created a sort of a battery backup of Britney Spears, and now the real Britney Spears is terrified because she can't help it if they wake up that battery backup of her and then abuse that body. That body won't have the bruises when the real Britney goes out and tells people in the morning. That, I believe, is the main deterrent, the main controlling aspect of them using clones. Another aspect would be there's no paper.
Well, that's good for now, right?
Okay. And just the communication aspect, that they wake up together at night and they don't have to have a paper trail. That was the other aspect that I was going to mention.
Well, I was curious because there's somebody from the outside who just don't have time for that.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a perfect question.
The only motive I had was that, like, if Stargates were real and they were shipping us out for food or something. But that's good. I like that angle. I hadn't heard that before.
It's a big one, in my opinion. Like Roddy Rod Piper and Bernie Mac, like, they basically sacrificed their lives for that, to free other people from that form of slavery. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go find your stuff on this. That's
one
of my guys.
Go to Meegs B and watch her video with me if you're not familiar with this topic. That's a good introduction to this topic. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up and just that I glossed over it.
Well, it's like, I don't know, you're kind of focused on like how you're not what everybody else is right now. You know, you're doing your disclosure, so it's kind of off topic. But
yeah,
as you know, it's like the same with I can barely even say it. The G, you know, it's like the programming to distance yourself from people who say stuff like that is pretty intense. So it's like the same with the flat earthers. You start trying to watch somebody, and then they say these trigger things that, like, whoa, that dude, like you experienced in 2014 with your family, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's come full circle. I'm not going to say that they're all watching my YouTube channel and all this, but I've actually been surprised. The people who I thought would be the last person in the family to say Jesse's not crazy, that's the first person who'd be on board with me about, there actually are these factions that are trying to bring America down. Like, I'm actually proud of certain members of my family who are catching up faster than the others. But for a long time, I was the black sheep in my family. And like my brother who recently committed suicide, unfortunately, we had a falling out on Facebook over Israel. And I have no idea why he stood up for Israel so much. But at one point, I blocked him. I'm like, dude, if you want, call me, but I'm not going to do this with you. And that's one of my regrets, is like just the silly politics stuff, you know, in social media. But I shut him off. I shut hundreds of people off. And I just focused on this. And I said, there's going to be strong people out there in the world somewhere somebody will resonate with this message, and I just hung in there with it, and I just try to be as transparent and as genuine as possible. That's it. That's all you can do. That's the only thing you can do.
At what point did you realize you might be putting your life in danger with what you're doing?
I had an interaction with, like, around the time that I did the interview with Patricia Steer, I was really cocky and confident. I felt really good. I was talking about the Talmud. I was talking about cloning. And this guy popped up with a ski mask called Commandante Carlos. And it was around the time that this guy named Tiger Dan was making competing videos with me. And Commandante Carlos was telling Patricia that she shouldn't have anything to do with me because I was talking about the Talmud and cloning. And I looked into it, and I felt very strongly that the guy in the ski mask was Michael Aquino. And that was the biggest mental psych that I had. And then simultaneously, that around the same time... Huh?
For an outsider, can you explain Aquino?
Michael Aquino is like the #2 most known Satanist in the world. You have Anton LaVey, and then you have Michael Aquino. He appeared on Oprah. Funny to bring up Oprah again. Because of a scandal at a military base involving pedophilia. He openly questioned a guy in Oprah's audience who said that he had gone to a meeting of Satanists where there was a human sacrifice, and like a lizard, Michael Aquino stared this guy in the eyes and called him a liar and all this kind of stuff. He is in the CIA, the secret space program. He helped to satanize the U.S. military. Yeah.
I mean, the thing about you wonderful conspiracy people is you can go.
Yeah.
Just that he's like second Satanist is good for me.
I'll mention this. The second time that I got worried was the George Webb, David Swigert thing, when I felt like if I talked about it too much, people would start associating me with George Webb and Dave Swigert. But at the same time, I felt like they had a lot of pull in the intelligence community, and I didn't know how much pull, and I didn't know how you know, sometimes the answer is to go big, to expose yourself even more, because if you shut up, that's when they take advantage of your fear. So Dave Swigert and Michael Aquino are the most terrifying experiences I had. But I probably shouldn't say that, because they would capitalize on that.
Okay, and so what was the Aquino experience again? The guy with the face mask?
He did what? I believe Michael Aquino was puppeteering MK Ultra victims within the flat Earth community. I believe that some of the biggest names in flat Earth were Manchurian Candidate type people that Michael Aquino was not necessarily communicating with, but sort of playing games with and setting them up like chess pieces. Like,
why do you think if he's #2? Why do you think that
he's
like he doesn't have lower people handling that sort of thing?
No. When I said #2, I meant as far as notoriety and how famous he is. Anton LaVey is the most well-known Satanist. Then
Agreed.
#2 would be, in my opinion, Michael Aquino.
So he's well known for his Satanry, but not necessarily high ranking.
And according to him, he's not a Satanist. He's a part of the Church of whatever, Delima, or I forget the name, Set. He founded the Temple of Set, and online he now claims to be a born-again Christian, which is ridiculous.
Okay, so he had some MK Ultra victims in the flat Earth community, and what happened to you that frightened you or made you realize it was serious, that you were doing serious stuff?
That's when people started telling me that they had been unsubscribed from my channel and that certain videos of mine wouldn't even show up when they would go to my upload feed. So that's whatever.
So it was like you realized you'd been noticed, and that's what.
No, what was the terrifying part about anybody who's fake on YouTube is when they maintain this squeaky clean image like they're your cousin or your grandson or their nephew, and they're like, hey, how's it going, guys? We're going to talk about flat Earth today, and nothing can go wrong. And then meanwhile, like, your friend gets into a car accident or whatever. Like when there are other people forming this fake facade of security and safety, meanwhile, they work for the U.S. government or they work for a corporation or Metatron or whatever. They're putting on a fake image of security and pleasantness and niceness. Meanwhile, you're just trying to get the truth out, and they're suffocating your voice, and they're smiling all the while. That's what's terrifying about it. And you start worrying that even if something does happen to you, that it's like the information won't even get out. That's the part that's terrifying. That's the part that's always disappointing, is that there are just so many fake people that can pretend like, oh, this is just so easy and nothing could ever go wrong. It's that icky feeling. You know that icky feeling when things get real and then nobody else is going to realize it because they're off, you know, having fun, and they're like just filling, you know, crossword puzzles on YouTube, you know, and you're like, no one's going to know.
I'm going to get high and watch a whole bunch of conspiracy videos today.
Yeah. The potheads on YouTube are my biggest fear. Yes.
Well, some of us are all right.
Yeah. These have been good questions. I'm trying to think, are there other areas that
I'd like to know about your involvement with Nathan Stoltzman.
Yeah. Okay.
How that began.
That's okay. That's the perfect question. So, what did I do right before that? Did he hear about me through? I had been covering Alex Jones through the primaries in 2016. A lot of the people within the Flat Earth, they said, what you're doing is not relevant, so come back, make more videos. And I was like, shut up. This is the most relevant thing ever. Like, our country is getting alienated from each other. Meanwhile, because of the cloning communities, I had a friend named Jessie, a girl with an I in her name. So she and I had been doing work together, and I hadn't heard from her in a while. So Nathan contacted me to be on his show, and it was going to be about Alex Jones. The show before that, he had Jaron Campanella on, and because of that, I was very suspicious, because I thought it was a setup. I thought, okay, Nathan and Jaron are friends, and he's just going to try to humiliate me, or he's going to try to take me down or whatever. Jesse called me before the show to warn me about Nathan, and that's what Nathan was talking about on that show about the gang stalking girlfriend. But it was really comical because Nathan and I were doing an equipment test where we were on Google Hangouts, we weren't broadcasting, and my phone rang. So I picked up the phone in front of Nathan, and I said, this is somebody who I haven't heard from in a long time. And it was that girl, Jessie. So he was like trying to talk me down, and he was trying to tell me she's going to tell you some stuff, and she's telling me. I felt very awkward. I felt like I was in the third wheel of some lover's triangle. But she was trying to warn me about Nathan, and it just came across as like some scorned ex-girlfriend kind of thing. Nathan and I were about to do a show. All I cared about was I wanted to expose the deception as I saw it. I wanted to have a good show. It was the wrong kind of energy. But I believe part of it was motivated because Nathan knew that I knew this girl and we had the cloning centers in common, and I feel like it might have been motivated because of my relationship with Jaron. Nathan and I had never talked about that until about 2 weeks ago when I called him to clear the air because there's still a lot of tension that he has with this girl, Jessie. So Jessie is a girl that I still want to interview about her experiences. And I thought that she got I didn't think that she got a fair shake when Nathan said that she's like a satanic breeder and a gang stalker and all this type of stuff. But the context and how he and I met was basically that she and Nathan had teamed up together to expose David Seaman. She finds other YouTubers to collaborate with. She's got all these really good ideas, like she said. And Nathan caught wind of me. We did an interview together, and that was that might have actually have been 2 years ago now. I can't remember. I think it was called the Alex Jones Deception. And we did really good work together. Like, Nathan and I just have, we have different ideologies, but when it comes to what we try to do as far as day-to-day operations and the types of people that we're covering, we had a really good flow together. So even though I was suspicious of him, I said, well, we just get along really well. So I kept that going, and I still feel that when it comes to deeper subjects, that Nathan and I really do good work together. So I'm like crossing my fingers and I'm holding out that whatever's going on with the Isaac Kappy and Mikey vegan thing, I hope that everything comes to the surface. Like, I hope that people start confessing things. I hope that people clear the air. If there's some deeper network, I hope that everything just gets resolved, because I still really like the kind of workflow that we have, if that makes sense, because the world, like, it's like once you accept the reality of the cloning centers, the world gets flipped inside out. There are all these people who are basically trapped in this system of extortion.
You said you hope people come clean.
Yeah.
How many on your hands? Like between 1 and 5, or how many people you think have something to come clean about at this point?
I don't know. This is something like, because I don't watch Isaac Kappy videos. I don't watch Vegan Mikey videos. So to some extent, as far as I'm kind of distancing myself from it, if you've been watching, if you know the evidence, if you have anything, I want to know. Like, at this point, I just want to educate myself up on it. Here's what I'm familiar with. Okay, after the show, and I called in, and I feel silly that I called in to that show.
Oh, it's the recent one.
What's that?
I said which show, but you're talking about the one where the fire herpes show, right?
Fire herpes. I was the call before fire herpes, and I listed the names of the 2 sergeants in Portland. But I didn't have enough freaking information about Mikey or Isaac to make a judgment call. As of right,
but that was solid. It was a good call, dude.
Well, thank you.
Honest.
I mean, well, it's if we can just get to the bottom of, are there police reports? Are the cops moving on it? Is it? We could say, if there aren't police reports, we can start talking about fraud. We can start trying to figure out where the fraud begins and ends. But as far as I'm concerned, the concern about Vegan Mikey having a connection to trauma does appear to be true. It does appear that he had a band called Moon Rising, and in Las Vegas he would, there does appear to be a connection where he's worked with some of these same people that Isaac Kappy has worked with. So that's not an organic relationship if that's true. So if more becomes uncovered, I just want to be as open and transparent about it as possible. But there could be videos on YouTube right now where that's true, and I just haven't seen them. Like, I'm not networked with those people.
Well, to my knowledge, Mikey has been on 4 appearances total, and that's what I've caught. And
appearances of what, Nathan's show?
No, twice on Nathan, once on Torah guy, who is DNAJ Lion 7, the Daniel guy.
Okay.
He was on there, and then he and I don't know, the third one I'm thinking of might be Nathan, Isaac, and no, it was just Isaac and Vegan Mikey on Kappy's Periscope, and we watched it. So yeah, his third one was just Isaac. I don't know how much Isaac and Mikey have done, because I don't follow those guys. But that's what I've seen, is those 4 appearances by him. And apparently, a lot of people have been trying to get him on their show, and they're not. He doesn't seem to want to do it. But when he was on Lift the Veil, he said he wanted more to get out, and Nathan made it clear that he wants it to be somewhere else when he does it. So everybody's kind of waiting for that. And I guess his life is in chaos, and it's hard to get him on.
So Nathan originally made a broadcast saying, I hosted you, people can find you on Twitter, and now you're out of my hands, right? And I'm happy with that, because it's like, if there's anything suspect going on, and Vegan Mikey has come out as being sort of anti-capitalist, and I can see where there could be agendas where socialists are trying to get us to attack private businesses. Like, that's the typical kind of strategy that's used. So if any of that kind of shenanigans is going on, I like it when Nathan says, I put you out there, but you're not my baby. I'm not protecting you. Having said that, when he gets on Twitter and he starts defending Vegan Mikey, or when he starts covering for Vegan Mikey, that's when it becomes problematic for me, because I say, well, wait a minute, that's no longer true, that you just pushed his information out there, because now you're, you know what I mean? Like, so that's what I have to watch for, and that's one of the criteria that I have to create for myself of where I draw a line, because I don't want to devote myself to the Vegan Mikey story or the Isaac Kappy story. But I also, which means that any time that I chime in, it's going to be coming from a place of total ignorance, So I'm depending on people to email me as the information comes in. If real connections are found, if real fraud is found, if the Voodoo Donuts thing goes deeper in that it was a setup, I need to know about that as soon as people find out. And I need to be really careful about just calling in and showing just morale or support, because it is going to become really nebulous. I would say that it already is nebulous, unfortunately,
So,
yeah.
Just on a level, do you think people are paid to manipulate this YouTube audience community? Whether or not this targeted this community specifically, but you honestly believe that people are being paid to manipulate viewers of YouTube, yeah?
When Nathan and I collaborated about George Webb, that was the focus of what we were exposing a guy named David Swigert, Dave Acton. He formed a fake lawsuit, but it claimed that Nathan and I had helped to shut down a government program underneath the Department of Homeland Security. Somebody else called Nathan's dad on behalf of Dave Acton that his life had been ruined, and that person tried to get Nathan kicked out of his living situation, which I thought, like, I don't care who you are, that goes against all rules of conduct. Like, triangulating around somebody's family, like if you started calling, my brothers and my dad, you know what I mean, and be like, that's,
start going after loved ones, you're on the wrong side.
And so I uploaded a YouTube video saying something is going on here, that this person is standing up for Dave Acton, who exposed himself, and they're trying to get Nathan kicked out of his dad's house. And that video got removed, and then I still haven't gotten that to Nathan. I need to get that to Nathan. No matter how this plays out, he needs to judge for himself about that person's intentions and about where that person was coming from when they tried to get him kicked out.
All right, can I give you one more question and bounce?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll just drop it and bounce. Could you go over your Christianity a little bit?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. Yeah, and I think you represented the chat really well. It's really good. Okay, I'm gonna hang up the line. And I think I've done fair for Nathan and Isaac and Vegan Mikey. I'm just, look, like, if I could devote myself to watching every video about Isaac Kappy, I would feel a lot better. But that's not the line of research that I want to devote myself to. So I'm just drawing a line in the sand, and I'm saying it's getting weird.
I don't know that he actually answers the Christianity question. My memory's blank from that part. I guess I was nervous, you know. There's one more piece I want to show everyone. Excuse me. It's unfinished. I was trying to make it a video. So, thanks everybody for coming again, by the way. That was... It makes me feel braver. Very much braver. Show recordings in the OBS. The OBS is the mothership that controls all this magic I'm doing. It is free. You can play with it too. And the guy who told me that can supply you with the Truniform. That's right. Hashtag TRUNIFORM. The Truniform. The baseball sleeve Truth Matters shirt from Truth Revolution Clothing. Look at that link. It goes there. Alright, you can stare at that while I find this thing to show you. Love you guys. I can hum while I do the... Okay. You know what? There's one thing I have to do now. Shoney's still here? Looks like it. Okay. Alright. I have to do this. I promised. Okay, you're not seeing it, but you don't need to. Good. Are you playing? Don't play. Okay. Alright. La la la. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. Alright, now I'm still finding you that thing to show you, so you should get your Truniform at the link below. And you wear my ring when I'm... Oh, hey, see, I can see it and you could hear it, but I don't know if you can see it yet because I have to do the thing in the OBS. And, like, my mind is really far away from the controls to my fingers right now. What are you guys in the chat saying? Yes, it was, Shawnee. You can rewind it and clip it and play it as often as you like, Jassy, after the show is finished. Right now, keep listening. The longer you listen, the better YouTube thinks I am at this, and then it brings in more people. Okay, so you press the plus button, and then you go to window capture. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the window capture. It's not that window, though. Not that window. It's that window. Okay, so this is... It's going to be like kind of a show because I was trying to make it a video, but it's unfinished. But I want to get it out there with everything else that's in this already. So, see, I hadn't updated. Do you like my new logo? It's not finished, I don't think, but it's coming along. Oh. I don't know what this is going to sound like, so mind your ears for a second.
His perception of depth and dimensions is radically changed. A low curb appears as a precipice. With a distortion of sight and sound, time is suspended. Fast action appears slow. The whole world is distorted. When the big blow comes, angry, resentful, humiliated, sinking into the pit of despair, and he needs help to pull himself out.
So might not be the
But
one.
where should he look for it? Whom should he ask? The coach won't give him a break. The teacher? He's already failed him, so why keep...
That makes more sense.
But it all happens because you don't give up. The same way he's here guarding me every night and every day, because he too never gave up.
Spirit bird, she creaks and groans, she knows she has seen this all before, she has seen this all.
There's some important, perhaps, clips.
Deal with these people on this platform, you know. And what was his latest edited video was about? It was like better health or some ridiculous nonsense that no one should give a shit about. Oh my god, the big YouTubers on YouTube are not genuine. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Those people that are on the trending page on YouTube are, you know, scam artists and scumbags. Holy shit. Shocking revelation across YouTube. Philip DeFranco is a fucking scumbag. Who would have thought? So fucking, I mean, seriously. You go watch the trending stuff on YouTube, every last one of those people, it's just brain cancer, basically, what they're talking about. Like Andy Worski, like, good lord. I mean, I popped into an Andy Worski live stream the other day. He was talking about his masturbation habits when he was a preview next to Pizzagate. And all this stuff. You know, you guys have been going at each other's throats on Twitter for days. Y'all need to get your asses in here and have a discussion so we can get past this crap and get back to doing real work again. Okay? So, and I really want to hear their answers for some of the trauma stuff. You know, the trauma connections. I want to hear the answers to that because the trauma people are flipping out today. Okay? And there's a reason why that's happening. It's not because Troma's not involved in all this. There's a direct connection between Lloyd Kaufman and Troma Films, like a huge one. I mean, Lloyd Kaufman and the Podesta Group. Okay? Lloyd Kaufman's own daughter worked for the Podesta Group. The Podesta Group lobbied for Troma Films. There's a definite connection there. Okay? And some of the stuff that Ryan's dug up, you know, we got this membership document for Cicada 3301, which talks about, you know, demonology and all this stuff. It's pretty satanic sounding to me. We can go over that as well. If not, I'll go over that in another live stream. But, you know, I don't know what to tell y'all. I can only show you guys the facts and things that I come across on the internet. That's what this channel's all about. You guys are just journeying along with me through the evidence that we're finding on the internet. And Pizzagate was just one of those topics that happened to come up and I found was interesting and I covered it. And because it became such a circus, we kept covering it until we got justice for it, and that still hasn't happened yet. But the Nexium trials are underway, and Nexium directly financially connects to Pizzagate. Okay? If you look up the Gwendolyn Caffritz connection, or someone told me in DC it's pronounced Cafritz, I don't know. Whatever. The Caffritz Foundation funds Nexium and funds Transformer DC, which is James Alefantis' art museum So there's a direct financial connection there. There's also the Bronfmans, and the Sacklers. The Sacklers gave an award to, I believe it was Marina Abramovich, who's obviously, a connection point there, because if the same people, the Sacklers, who are tied in with fentanyl, right, and all the opioids, that's the Sackler family, if they're tied in with all that, and they're also giving awards to Marina Abramovich, and they're also tied into Nexium, then there's another financial connection there through the Sacklers that ties Nexium to Elephantis. So that's why I've been focusing on Nexium so much, because I think that Nexium does connect to the Pizzagate people. And I also do think that this Trauma Films group, James Gunn and these people, I think they're connected as well. Nice. We got Kappy back on the line. So
I think it was he's too Scott Summers and I'm too Wolverine sort of thing. That's why I didn't trust him. I'm cutting him some more slack. This is so that I know to clip, like there. If you're stuck watching this, I apologize. But at least you get to hear me talk, right? See, I was gonna clip it and, do things all responsible but like I said, I wanted to get this out. Win for you. And this is me trying to make it prettier for you guys.
Hello.
What's up? What's up, Isaac?
Random stuff. Do you want it sideways or this way?
Either way, people, they're on to the fact that Petergate came out.
Specific.
So that's why I think a lot of people were concerned when you came on the scene and blew up so big, because they're like, oh, is this another person sent here to divide the movement? And I don't think that's your intention.
I understand that logic for like half a second, but if I'm calling out Steven Spielberg and making all these big connections of how this shit really works, the blackmail networks, why, it just makes no sense that I would. How am I dividing it?
Yeah, and
Let's think back to a time in history called July 2018. Mid-July 2018. Back then, if you were like, Steven Spielberg's a pedophile, you'd be like, what? Now people are like, yeah, of course he is.
Yeah.
I may make the point, or when I started putting this thing together, it was to make the point that Kappy likes to say, look at their tactics. I'm down with that. But also look at their fruits and what he just said. Remember the end game. And this is the part where I cut it. And then I have to go dig up the part where he says, look at their tactics. Maybe the tactics and their fruits. Have I ever heard that before? I'm gonna kill that. That's fine. How's everybody? That's all the stuff. You can clip it now. Let me go real meta. Wow. Alright, that's how I know that's the end of the good stuff, and now it's just me rambling in front of anybody who wants to talk to me. Hi, everybody. Let's pretend it's an Ask Me Anything if you want, while I dig up something to say. You're going to get that in like 10 seconds. So for these next 10 seconds, I will practice using words. There's so much I want to tell everybody, but it just rattles around in my head, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that one, and then I get in front of the microphone, and when I can, that becomes the only thing I can see, and there's no channeling this stuff through, right? I'm hoping to do this well enough to get a subscriber base that I can do, like, people aren't ashamed to come on. And how old am I? The body I'm residing in is 42. Oh, we're talking about Nexium a little bit. I want to say that the whole Nexium scandal breaks my heart, second only. Like, I got a pretty big heart, and the first thing that broke it was not Nexium, but number 2 is Nexium, and Chloe's involvement. It just kills me. Right? The first one is the tragic life of Brittany Murphy. That's the biggest heartbreak for the man-child that I am. I wanted to show you guys my contact with the BBC. I should disclose that in this. Let's all be upfront. By the way, I uncovered a shill on YouTube, and in the description below is the thing that says shill revealed or something. I don't remember what I said, but that link will take you to the exposure of that shill, and it's pretty shocking. Pretty shocking. I have somebody who gave me background music to play for you at times like this, but it is not on hand. Let's see, can I set my mouth on autopilot and look for something at the same time? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for the thing to show all my new friends. We're having a good time in our true forms, and we'll have it to the end. Dang, I want the sort of Gmails, 'cause I'm confessing my connection to the BBC. Alright, I'll stop. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get you to stay, not leave. I do. Okay, that's there. Let me do this for you while I do this. No, I can't do that. Right? Yeah, no, you can't. My email is grimgriz@gmail. So if you guys want to contact me, say, hey, I'll come on your show, and we can start that process. I'm searching for the BBC lady. Aha. So once upon a time, I tweeted something, and oh, thank you. And I don't know. This lady from the BBC ended up hitting me up about it. They're a program about crowdsourcing science, and cannabis in the brain. And I had made some comment about it'd be really fascinating to me to see what would happen, like, if you strapped an EEG to someone's head. And I have a whole idea for a pyramid scheme behind that. Like, first, let me get this out the way. Pyramid schemes are not inherently evil, but when they get corrupted, I mean, so we can have positive, like, as long as you don't screw over the bottom too hard, a pyramid scheme's just functional. Okay, and but strapping an EEG to your head and then getting high and seeing how different strains change the brainwaves differently. And we went back and forth. I tried to explain that, and apparently their show is about. She had referenced. She said, "Go watch what we do," because we tried to base it around the person who asked the question. I'm like, dude, you don't want to base a show around me. And she called me and we talked on the phone. I was there and my host was asleep. And then it turned back into a couple of emails. And I'm going to read you a piece of that email as soon as I check the chat and see what's up with you guys. Hey, everybody. Oh, Cody, have me tell you about the American Paladins one day. Okay, so here's from that email. Basically, I was just told you so. Except I sent this to an official, regular, normal human being. And, alright, here we go. It's good times. My communication problem is the host. He's got all these people he has to exist for because he's attached to. The truth of my existence, he believes, will hurt those people, mostly by institutionalization, but also in the same way that the OA hurts the blind girl's parents. I, on the other hand, am Griswold Grimm, the offspring of depression and screen time, born in the Terran host. I am a shaper from another dimension, seeded through Pokemon Go's predecessor, Ingress. The readings from the EEG will help my people find each other. My host is a do-gooder, and he's running the show most of the time. I sold the idea to him as a path toward financial stability. It was a convoluted route, but I'll try to lay it out again in the next graph. You can skip if disinterested. Pyramid schemes suck. Pyramids are awesome. The scheme is what you put at the top. Shitty people have been at the top. Build a crowd science pyramid. People buy in with the purchase of the EEG gear. Get a distribution license from the company, and either work with their devs or find a hacker to get sovereignty of the data stream from the devices. Conduct group experiment events, generate data sets, find and build AI bots that get fed that data and spit out knowledge. Crap, I gotta go. I guess whether or not I ever hear from you again will let me know what you make of me. With love, Grimm. And I'm gonna say everyone here is probably surprised that I never heard from her again. So. Okay, I got one question. That's it, guys. I only got one question, so I have to figure out something else I'm supposed to tell you. Oh, man. See, it's a matter of... You guys know about the law of confusion, right? It's also called the illusion of free will. Oh, you know what? No, I'll save that one. Okay. Sorry. Basically, the law of confusion is that you can't really hear anything that would infringe upon your free will. Like, if a truth is too much truth for, like, you have to ask to receive it. Nobody can drop it on you. And that's probably why a lot of when you find your conspiracies and you're shocked and alarmed and you try and find somebody to help you and deal with the situation and decide what to do, nobody can even hear you. Because I don't know why, but They just can't. No endurance. But I did show you guys a bunch of cool clips, right? And I think that like I'll probably take most of this and watch it on double speed, make a clip of it on double speed, I can just drop in front of a reference if anybody's new to the situation. Because when I first got to the community, that was the hardest part. Is like everybody. It's like you guys speak a secret language, like Wolfbang, the hell big guy. Who, boy, that fella sure seems like his heart's in the right place, don't it? And okay. Then sometimes there's stupid stuff like people saying call the FBI with this information. You do not want to do that. You may or may not. Well, let me put it this way. In a dream I had once, there was a group of Christian mystics who recognized that the Masons didn't own 33, but that it was powerful because it was a number of years in Jesus' life as well as a number of vertebrae in your spine, and they investigated what that meant. And I guess the Wim Hof method of learning to control your own physiology, and that at least they came out of that experience thinking they were in direct communication with the divine source that resides and permeates all of existence. But what they would do, because you can't wake people that don't want to be woke, is they would download little pills, woke pills. Like people say red pill, but the red, they've hijacked that meme to drown the wave in the red colored Hegelian dialect bullshit. Be the purple party, be the indigo party. TikTok. And they would drop those off, just little USBs laying around, and like later it got corrupted because the assholes would do the same thing with fucking child porn, and that's how they took I'm out, y'all. They did tell me that if I got 4,000 subs, I'd get my own handler, and clearly I could use one, so please press that button. You don't have to have the notifications. I don't want to bother anybody, but you're always welcome. And if you want to put words in my mouth, like this throat for hire, but not for your penis, only for your words. So you can contact me at grimgriz@gmail.com, and I will say what you want me to for money, or you can be a part of the Shiluminati, and I will make one video for you a month. So that's through the exposed shell down below in the description. Your attention is a blessing to me, everyone. I wish you light and love.